Can you hear me?
I can hear you just nice and clear. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hang on just a sec. I'm going to pull up something so you can hear. Actually, you checked out did you have time to check out the podcast at all?
I did, yeah, only briefly, but the beginning of I think number 6, it was pretty funny. I liked it.
Okay, cool. Well, you heard the intro song.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be at the front of this. Usually I'll play it for guests and then we'll like start, but you've heard it. I'll cut that in at the front.
Okay.
You're up to speed. I got see you got Maine behind you, but you're not in Maine, are you?
No, we got to represent from Utah.
Nice. Where are you? Park City?
We were in Park City. We just moved to Salt Lake in April.
Oh,
Last
cool.
April.
Like
We've been here like a year. Yeah.
full time?
Yeah. Yeah. We bought a house. So
Oh, congratulations. Yeah, and you're getting married too, aren't you?
we are. Yeah. It's spring 2021.
Congratulations. Did you have to push that back because of what's happening?
No, we had a busy summer, so we were kind of planning on doing it then anyway. So kind of lucked
Oh,
out. Hopefully by then it'll be chill. I don't know. We'll see.
nice. Yeah, hopefully it'll be okay. Or it'll be like that. It's like right when everything opens up and everybody's psyched to come to your wedding.
Yeah, 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 totally. That'd be cool. What's new with
Um,
you? How's life?
I'm living in LA now. I've been here about 2 years, just doing the stand up until it just got canceled. It doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
They decided to get rid of it. Yeah, just no more stand up, no more
Right.
music,
Another thing.
no more live anything. No, I've been here for 2 years. We just moved out to Santa Monica. We're right up by the beach,
Oh, nice.
and we're really digging it. We actually moved in here right before all this started, or like right as the first week of it, and we got lucky. But we've been digging, living down by the beach. We were like way up in the city. We are in Silver Lake before. I don't know. Have you been to LA at all?
Not really. No, I don't know much about it.
I love that. You've been all around the world. LA, no,
Not
never been there. But well, I dig it, and I'm taking up surfing, skateboarding all the time too. I've always skateboarded, but I've never surfed before. And
Nice.
I bought a wetsuit, and I'm gearing up to buy a surfboard. And I'm thinking about just going for it, no lessons or anything.
Yeah, surfing is in my future too. I've been like probably a handful of times, and I love it. So, yeah,
It's what injured retired skiers do.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah, because you can go out and just do little waves, take it easy on your body, but still like the other thing I think about it is you're still facing a gigantic natural force.
hmm
Like I see waves in the ocean very similar to like huge mountains, and the
right,
way
right.
that it like the feeling it gives me inside of me when I'm like out in the ocean or like kind of going crazy down a hill
Yeah,
is a very similar feeling, but it feels way less taxing on your body to go into the ocean.
totally. Yeah, we've been getting super into pow surfing here lately.
I have seen that. I am very jealous. I want to do that
Yeah,
very much.
yeah, you would love it, especially if you skate. It's so fun.
Is it a
So,
lot like skating?
no, to me it feels like way more like surfing, but like if you skate, you can pick it up fast. You know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah.
have an understanding of the snow and an understanding of how to ride sideways.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with surfing as well. I've heard it's a little different, but have you ever surfed before?
Yeah, quite like I said, a handful of times, pretty much just like longboards. Um,
Okay.
I've gotten like, yeah, it seems like I always go back to Maine in the fall, and it's been like I've been out a couple times there, and it's like 8 to 10, and just gets like absolutely destroyed. Not make the paddle out, but it's fun.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've never been. I've always wanted to go, and I'm thinking about just because I know that I've like been studying it and I know the ideas of it, but
Yeah,
I people are like, even my wife is like, take a lesson. I'm like, I think I got it. I think I can just go do
yeah,
it.
I would just go for it. The hardest
Yeah.
part is just like to me, like just being in the right spot, and also just your shoulders get so fucking tired, like in like
Yeah.
10. But if you live there, then you'll get great. You know, you like get that fitness up, and you'll be able to go for a while.
Yeah. I've already started doing like the specific stretches and doing like warm ups like that, like plank and then like going up and like
Yeah,
using my shoulders and stuff to get ready. But also out here, it's crazy. The beach here, like even just the surfable waves are like way more than you'd see in average on Maine or most of the
yeah,
East Coast all the time. Like it's fucking powerful.
yeah, 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 totally.
I went down to Laguna Beach and was doing body surfing just on an average day, no big waves or anything, and it like pounds you way more than the Atlantic does.
In Maine, yeah, way different for
In
sure.
Maine and anywhere I've been all down to like Florida and stuff, and it's all like, I don't know why, but well, I know why. It's like giant shelf and there's nothing blocking it and it just all
Yeah.
comes in. So yeah, I have a few topics I want to talk about with you. I did a little intro before this, so the listeners and viewers and such. I throw this up on YouTube. Barely
Okay.
anybody watches it, but a lot of people listen to it.
Cool.
And then I just tell them that the video's there if they want to see it. And if funny things happen, I take a little clips out and put them on Instagram for, little video clips.
Yeah.
So you did, we haven't talked about this, but you did like built out like you and was it Chris Lee built out the trailer and lived out of that for a winter?
Yeah, last winter.
So how much were you involved with the build?
I had to come in the last second to get it wrapped up because he was in Maine building it and it was taking fucking forever. And
Yeah.
I had finished the semester of school and we were planning on hitting the road, so I was like, well, shit, I'll try to go back there and get this thing going. And it was good because they were like taking like 2-hour-long lunch breaks at Catalina Village and like slamming whatever those bowls are and stuff. So when I came in, I was like, guys, let's get this shit done.
I could see Chris being very good with detail and like working on stuff and being like, I got this sink in right, but like putting in the hours, maybe not all the time, Chris, you know?
Yeah. I wouldn't even know if he's a detail guy. He's more like a kind of like gets the case of the buckets and it's like, whatever, it's good enough.
Oh, yeah.
But we did quite a bit. Like when I got there, it was like mostly framed out. But we did like a little bit more framing and like all the trim work and I saw all the appliances and everything like that go in. So it was cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did. So I did, which I don't know if you know, but I did built a bus out and lived out of it for a year.
I was going to ask you, that bus looks like a Gould Fleet bus. Is it?
No, same colors though. Yeah, we painted it those colors. Yeah, it totally looked like the old mushroom bus that they used to have.
Yeah.
And also for listeners who don't know, I think I said it in the beginning, but like Troy and I came up to kind of through the same programs and stuff. We'll get to that stuff. So I also want to talk about Glenn Eddy and your experiences with Glenn, because I have a whole history with Glenn from summer camps and shit like that too.
Yeah.
Love it. But yeah, we built out the bus. I did it in 6 weeks by myself. Pretty much by myself. Had an electrician help a little bit to put in the electricity, and had my dad help a little bit, and we had a welder, put the cage on the back that held the propane.
Yep.
And had another guy, a boat guy over in Bridgeton, put in like a tub, pretty much like a little shower tub.
Yeah.
That was in our bathroom. We just had him do like the epoxy they do for an outside of the boat, but he just did that inside as our tub.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but other than that, I did it all myself, and we cranked it out. Yeah. It was all completely stripped. I'd stripped it already, so it was like starting from a blank, bus.
Yeah, for him, Shelby just got home. For him, they had a ton of work to do because it was like a stacker trailer. So you pull a car in and it would lift, and you pull another one underneath it. And so they had to like totally tear everything out, like fully gut it, and then like frame.
Oh, so it wasn't just like an empty shell trailer when they got it.
Yeah.
Dude, and that stuff, that metal is so hard. It's in there. Like just the seats in the bus were so bolted in there.
Oh, yeah.
That they were like some of the most frustrating stuff to try and get out.
Right. So they definitely did a bunch of work before. I kind of got there and got to do like the cool stuff. They did a lot of like the grunt work before. But it's like 13-foot tall, like trailer. It's gigantic.
And they still have it?
Yeah, he still has it. He it's just in the storage unit here. I think he's gonna try to do a bunch of camping and stuff this summer with it.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. We didn't get it out this winter because we were so busy, but hopefully use it again in the wintertime too.
Yeah, especially out there. I mean, here too, we can go an hour and a half, but compared to the East Coast, the West Coast has so much like public lands and cool, beautiful places that you can just go set up shop for a few weeks and not even have to move camp or anything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How is that what you guys were doing when you were out skiing it?
It really depends. Like, yeah, I mean, we were in it pretty much the whole from like end of January all the way through April. April, we were in it, and it depended on like where we were. Like, we went to Montana and tried to park at this trailhead, and when we like came back on our sleds that afternoon, a ranger was there, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys can't park here." So like, we just went into the town and found like a snowmobile dealer, and he let us park in his lot for like a couple
Nice.
weeks. But then like in Alaska, yeah, you can just park on the side of the road or in even just in town, like in the harbor. Or so it just yeah, the hard yeah,
Oh
that's like the
shit,
hard
you went
part.
all the way up to Alaska in it. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. That's a pretty crazy. I've driven up there. I've been up there. I think 6 or 7 times now. I can't remember a lot, but
And
I've
how
driven
deep
it a
into
few times.
Alaska are you going?
Right by Anchorage, so like it's called South Central Alaska. So I guess not that deep, but
What up, South Central?
yeah.
Um, and yeah, this is one thing I liked, and maybe this was different for you going up with the trailer, like traveling around with your home with you. It made stuff like that more fun. Being
Yeah.
out, we were out in a lot of national parks and stuff, but not being like, I'm not even taking a trip. Like, I'm here in what I live in right now.
Yeah, yeah. For us, it was like that in a sense. If we had more time, like we were just always so like focused on getting to good snow and skiing, and it was almost like there's always like this kind of big time pressure. It felt like to
Yeah,
chase snow.
I
So
guess you are chasing like the winter. It's not like it's gonna be gone in a few weeks if
yeah,
you lollygag around. Yeah,
totally. And especially like in Alaska, we were like there. The weather can be so gnarly, so like we would look at it for weeks ahead and try to find like when the right time to go was. So it almost felt like we didn't get to like chill in the camper that much. Like we would pretty much like either be driving nonstop, like no breaks to somewhere, or we would be out all day till like 8 and then come home, cook dinner, go to bed almost. So
would
we,
you drive overnight or something? Or like, well, other
yeah,
would you sleep while people drove?
pretty much every single mission we did, it would be yeah, one person driving, one person sleeping, like
How
every time.
sketchy is that? Being in the back in a trailer.
Oh no, no, not in the trailer. We never did that.
Oh,
But Chris had that
okay.
was a sick truck too, so there's a lot of room in the truck. So we would have like either the two of us or like a crew of four, and it would always be like rotating drivers and never, yeah, always driving through the night.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you put up a ton of footage and stuff from it, but is there one place where people can go see like any of the trip or the especially the skiing and shit?
Yeah. I did like a online journal on freeskier.com. So you could type in like Troy Murphy. We called like it like a mini series, No Agenda was like the name of it. And so
Yeah,
I have like a little bit of writing about each one, and then they would like link the video, the edits to it. And then I also have it on my Vimeo page. And I don't really know. I don't even know what my Vimeo name is. I think it's just Troy Murphy on Vimeo.
yeah, I've been sure if you Google your name in Vimeo, it'll come up.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we did. I can't remember how many, like 4 or 5 last year of that. So yeah,
Nice. Um, where's your favorite place you've ever skied?
Alaska for sure.
It is, yeah,
All
even
of
better
Alaska.
than the Alps and shit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime I've been in the Alps, it's been at a competition, so I didn't have a ton of time to ski.
You've never, I've had 1 day, 1 or 2 days out in early season in teens where
Yeah,
we got to
we
go
had,
on the mountain.
and it was awesome for sure.
Did you do the same, you go in like November or something?
Yeah, we would go like right before our first World Cup would be in Finland in December, and so we would go right from France to Finland pretty much. Uh,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and we only did it twice, and both times we got like snow. Like I think I maybe skied the glacier mogul course like maybe 2 days out of
Because
both
it
those
dumped.
trips. Yeah, but it was sick
Nice.
because we got to ski a ton of POW, which was super fun.
And it's crazy there. That was my first, I don't know, I'd been to Colorado, but that was my first experience in the Alps,
Yeah, way
was
different.
in teens. And just like that idea of like the village being in the mountain, you go ski up above it, and then but you can ski past teens down to the next village down below it, and then there's like
Yeah,
more skiing down there. It fucking blew my mind.
yeah. That whole like chain of resorts goes forever. Like Teen, Val there, and I think it like keeps going. Like you can.
Yeah, it was like Lake something is below it, then teens, and then Val d'Isères is the next one.
Yeah, so
That
cool.
so that's where I had this incident with Glenn Eddie,
Uh-huh.
where we almost died with the bus going off
Oh,
a
he's
cliff.
he's told me that separately, but I would love to hear your take on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll tell you my take, and then you can see his varies. Mine might be like, he's like, that's not what happened at all.
Oh no,
Uh, it was a packed bus, and we were going up there, and it was like midnight. And I was with the CVA kids,
mhm.
and we had been in Paris for 3 days before that. Because did you ever have to do this with Gould trips where you'd have to do so much academic shit in order to take that much time off?
Um, we when I was at Gould, like never did that much travel, so no. I mean,
Oh, it
most of
would
our
just
stuff
be
was
a
just
weekend
weekend.
or a week at a time or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think we did 14 days in teens, but in order to do 14 days or in France, we had to do 3 days in Paris so they could, learn shit.
Okay.
But Glenn just let me tag along, and I paid to go, do the training camp. But
Right.
he was like, just come with all the CVA kids the week,
On to
and
Paris.
the 14 days that they go, and you'll just be part of their trip. So I was just with this class, like they had teachers and shit with them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't have to do any of this shit. I was just like hanging out with them the whole time. And then we'd go from Paris up into the mountains, and it's like midnight, and we're like 2 miles outside of, I think it was that lake.
Yeah, I
Do you
know
remember that?
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's just like
and
really steep.
right after you go over that big dam that has like the old man time face on it,
Yep.
uh, and the bus driver stops, and it's one of those like big with all the storage underneath double
Mhm.
decker type buses, and it's packed. There's probably 50 kids, and it was Nate McKenzie, Glenn Eddy, and then were the coaches, and then the snowboard coach, he was like a Finnish guy, I forget his name,
Huh.
and they were all CVA coaches, and then a couple teachers and shit. And the bus driver doesn't speak any English, and he stops the bus because there's ice, and he gets up, opens the door to go call somebody for help or something, and as he's walking out the steps, the bus starts to slide backwards. And I'm like halfway back in the bus, and we did kind of, the back of the bus doesn't know if we're backing up or if we're
Yeah,
sliding
yeah,
backwards. We can't
yeah.
tell, but some people are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then he tries to like stop it or like turn the bus into the wall or something, and nothing happens, and he just jumps out. Bus driver, first one out. And Glenn and Mackenzie and those guys are just sitting right up front and just watching. Like, he doesn't say anything to them. He doesn't speak
Yeah, yeah.
English or anything. And he just jumps out the door, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And they just turn around, everybody, and they're like, "Off the bus!" And
No
everybody
way.
just starts bailing off as it slides backwards, hits the wall and turns sideways, and then hits the guardrail, turns back straight, and then slid under one of those avalanche overpasses,
Yep.
and it was all dry and sand under there.
So
And so
stop.
luckily it slid to a stop, but it broke the guardrail where it like hit the guardrail and turned back. And the whole time people are jumping out. Like, it was luckily, I've said this before, but there is no better bus of people to get caught in something like that than a bunch of extreme sports athletes
Yeah, because they're
who
like
are
just
like, we're
doing
gonna surf this bus down the gun. Like, everybody was extremely calm in how they got out and like taking the
yeah.
time and shit, but everybody fucking face planted out the door because they weren't like
Oh, I see.
judging how like we're going backwards down the hill, and
Oh,
they
yeah, yeah,
jump
yeah.
and fall forward, and you'd watch the person in front of you do it, and then you jump and you did the same.
You did it, yeah. So you
But
jumped. Did
luckily,
everybody end up getting out?
I was one of the last ones off, and we were getting out as like it was sliding to a stop in
Yeah,
the.
yeah,
It took about a bus length to stop. It was like a.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so luckily I didn't smash my face. Um, and then we were just there with the driver who fucking bailed on us. We were just
That's awesome. That's
um,
so. I don't know. I feel like that's just so European. I can just picture that.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, well, when I'm
Yeah.
going down with the
Yeah.
ship, I
Yeah.
work for a union, man.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, is that similar or
Yeah, he would
somewhat
always just
close
say,
to?
yeah, that he almost died. He was actually on one of those teen trips, and we were in the same type of bus when we were driving there, and so he was like super grip when we were going.
Was he
Same
white knuckling
situation, like
it?
late at night. And one of the times it was snowing. I can't remember if it was that time of the year after when he wasn't there, but that's funny because he's told me that story like multiple times before that, and then obviously when we were like driving through there in teens, he was like, "This is where we almost died right here." So
Yeah, and I don't want to. I really respect Glenn as a man, and so I'm gonna say, although I don't know that this is true, that he stayed on there and got every one of those kids off that bus. I don't know if that's true, but I'm gonna say it is. I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say he
yeah,
did
yeah.
that.
Sounds like
He's a
Glenn.
very noble man in that way.
He is. Yeah.
How did you end up? Did you just meet him? For those that don't know, he was a ski coach. I had him as a ski coach a little bit. I was with Nate McKenzie more when we would travel, and then um, Yingling and Gerard and Brooks and stuff at
Right.
Gould.
Right.
But you went like miles beyond competition wise, but you even up into that higher level when you're doing Olympic stuff, you were still working with Glenn.
Yeah. It was kind
Did
of crazy
you, how did that come together? Is like you guys working together?
Yeah, so it first started when I graduated Gould. Jeff Yingling, who you just mentioned, he wasn't like even in the coaching game at all anymore, but he was kind of like always a sounding board for me when I was in high school and kind of coming through that era. So
Yeah.
he just like knew Glenn and thought that would be a good fit, so that kind of connected us because I was looking for a program to move on to after I graduated. And so
And for like, I guess I don't even know at this point how skiing is, but like, is it when you're getting into that level and you're looking at like being in the World Cup and stuff, if you're not those first years when you're not in the US program, are there different like programs that people are looking to join as far as training and
yeah,
competition programs?
for sure. There's pretty much like there's a bunch in the East, a bunch in like Colorado, Utah, like everywhere they have like a club. And some of
I
them are
guess
like
yeah,
more,
I did the Steamboat one. When I lived there for a
yeah,
winter and was part
right.
of the Winter Sports Club there.
Yeah, so that's like still a super like prominent mogul club for sure. They've had a lot of success. And yeah, some of them are like more geared toward like a high school. Some of them are more geared toward like PGs, and then some of them have like not affiliated with the school at all. And so Glenn's program was just like myself and a couple kind of like rogue mogul skiers. We would have always have like these weird international athletes who were trying to make the Olympics for like an obscure country. So there would be like maybe 4 to 5 of us, but we would have like we had a guy representing Iran, Darius, who was a great friend of mine. We had a Spanish girl, Reyes, another girl from I think Denmark. There was a guy from South Africa at one point. So it was like super eclectic group of people.
That's that's hilarious because I also have a very fond memory of like 2 or 3 of the Gould kids that when I was with the competition program, like Hide.
Yeah.
Do you
Big
remember
fan.
him?
I've just heard about it from
Yeah,
Jeff.
and it was just he wasn't a great freestyle skier. He could ski just fine, but like jumping was not for him at
Yeah,
all. But he just like did it all the fucking time, moguls, 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 all the
yeah,
time, and was just there. Like wouldn't even go home for Christmas or anything. Would just always be there
right.
with us
Yeah.
all of the time.
Yeah, it was like very much like that. That we had Woo, who was a Korean guy, who was awesome. Super fun to like ski with people like that from all over the world. It was cool. And yeah, like a lot of them aren't necessarily at that like super high level. So you like a lot of times you'd be in high school and you'd be better than these guys trying to make the Olympics from these obscure countries. But they were like super dedicated, like there every day, really trying to make it happen.
Yeah, so I guess in that way, almost like they are showing a more adult approach to it. So if you are in high school with
Yeah.
them, even if you're better than them, you go like they're still fucking working harder than me, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
setting an example of how hard to work.
Right. That was the great thing about that. Glenn, Planet Ski International was like his team, and he
Yeah.
still does the Whistler camps under that name. But
Okay. So I did that. I did Whistler, and it was the France trip was under that too.
right. So it's pretty much that, just like a full year thing. And so we did like a month in Australia. We did Whistler, Australia, Switzerland. Like we went everywhere.
That's
It was
awesome.
awesome. We didn't really have like a home mountain or anything. We were just always traveling and competing and training. It was super cool. And then that started to work. We had success. And, and then in the year before I made the ski team, both Glenn and I joined the Park City freestyle team. So we kind of like teamed up with those guys.
I know that well. When the couple years I was competing, they were like one of the other big programs
Yeah.
in it, and like didn't like Tanner come through there?
Yeah, he's from he's from Montana, but he spent a ton of time in Park City.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean a ton of people. It's just kind of like a freestyle mecca a little bit. So we did that. We joined the Park City team, and then I made the ski team after that season. And then the very next season, Glenn started coaching for the ski team. So it was kind of crazy how like both of our
Yeah.
careers kind of like progressed to that level.
And now, how is he? Because he was mostly moguls, and I was doing free ride. But he always struck me as a very different kind of coach because he was even tempered and like just much more problematic about stuff, opposed to say a Chris Brooks who relentlessly hounds you. Now,
Yeah.
but like I mean, for him, for you as an athlete, it takes a level of dedication to get to something like that. But for him as a coach, also to be coaching at that level, like, and were you psyched to kind of have that type of coaching all the way through?
Yeah, it was awesome. I feel like Glenn, other than like my parents and like family, people, close people that I grew up with, he's probably like the most influential guy probably on my life in general. Like, I feel like when I was at that age, he like understood me better than I did, even like understood like my mental state. And like if I was having a hard event, he would like always be able to calm me down and like get me back in the right direction. And he was just, yeah, like you said, very logical, even tempered, like no ego or emotion really at all. So you could
Yeah,
always
almost like he's dead inside, but it helps.
yeah, but for me that was great because we would lay out a plan and it was very easy to stick to the plan, and it was all like it's just like super focused, no drama, like I don't know, great training. It's hard to explain the time I had with him.
Yeah.
And when it was like just that PSI crew, it'd be like he and I driving for hours to like an event like in his car together. So I would hear like hours long conversations about airline miles and markets and just like super Russia, like just like super interesting stuff that I'd never been exposed to. So really, yeah, a great time in my life.
That also sounds almost like weird. And then I think about like when I was traveling around on the bus, like I did all of the driving on the bus, and we were in it for a year, and I was touring doing stand up all over the country while we were driving around. But I was mostly listening to podcasts and shit the whole time we're driving, and it was like same thing of like Radio Lab, like science and shit like that, just learning
Yeah,
about it. But like you just had one guy telling it to you.
yeah. You just Glenn, like anything that he was interested in, I learned about, and it was always interesting. Like always great conversations, super cool.
Are you a fan of podcasts at all? Do you listen to them?
Yeah, for sure. I listen to him like every day, and when I drive, I definitely do too. Right now, just because I only I listen to him in the shower in the morning and like while I'm cooking breakfast, so I just kind of stay up to date on like news and things like that. But for like longer ones, I'll either try to get into like a series that I haven't listened to, or sometimes I'll listen to the Joe Rogan ones if I see like a guest that I am interested in. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
trying to think what
It's my goal to get him into more extreme sports.
Yeah, that would be
more
awesome.
skiing, snowboarding, skateboarding stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think if he got it, it would be interesting to see like those worlds come together.
Super.
But I just don't think he gets it.
Yeah, he's had a couple, but yeah, like anything that's like wrestling or whatever, cage fighting related, I don't listen to it at all. But there's
interestingly, I have very much gotten into that lately of watching and training that stuff, but I don't want to fight at all. I don't want to get. Do you worry? Here's a great question. Do you worry about head injuries?
I didn't have many, so I'm not like I'm definitely not trying to get head injuries. I'm like not a person that's like.
Oh yeah. No, you got what I meant though.
Yeah.
Do you want to go get some head injuries?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like some people are just like, it's not that big of a deal. I definitely like am pretty aware. The one thing I heard about one time, and I don't know, it might have been one of those Joe Rogan junk science facts type things, is that dudes on jet skis were like had CTE just from like slamming, and I don't know if I'm buying that. But if that's the case, skiing would be probably an issue.
I don't think. I mean, maybe a little, but because I've thought about that, and I think with skiing, it would be just when you fucking slam your head off the ground.
Yeah.
Because that's the only time I ever felt concussion. I mean, that jet ski thing. Sometimes that does feel harder than skiing does necessarily because of the speed you're going at and like water.
I mean, tension is so hard.
Yeah, but also I feel like that probably does the same amount as like heading the soccer ball, maybe even less than,
Yeah.
maybe every little thing like that does something. But yeah, water skiing, I don't know. Or not
Yeah.
water skiing, but jet skiing.
Jet skiing,
That's
yeah. I'm not sure I'm buying that one. But
yeah,
like,
that's a
yeah,
reach.
I had a few concussions for sure. Not, I don't feel like enough to be alarmed about, and they were always very spaced out. Like I never had back-to-back ones, which I've seen some other mogul skiers have gnarly back-to-back ones and like end their career, which is a huge bummer.
Have you ever seen one of those career enders like in person?
Um, Not a concussion type of deal, but yeah, I've seen a couple crashes that definitely were. But like when you're talking about concussions, like the aerial skiers, that blows my mind because like every day
Oh fuck yeah.
they like land and just slap their head on the snow, like at least once a day. I feel like I don't feel like there's ever a day when those guys are just stomping every jump, and they're always, I don't know, that's crazy to me.
You know, something I've thought of is I don't know a single old aerial skier. I don't know where they go. I
I
don't know what
actually
happens to
do.
them.
A couple of them live in Park City. They're pretty cool actually, good guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they base
but like
jumpers or some shit.
no, like Trace Worthington was like one of the best aerialists ever. He's like
I
now
remember
a
that name.
commentator. Yeah, he like commentates for NBC on a bunch of different fronts, like sport related stuff, and like Red Bull Signature Series. He does all their commentating. He lives in Park City. He's a good friend. Um, I feel like I know like a lot of guys from that era, like the Johnny Mosley Trace era aerialists, and then there's a big
Johnny
gap.
Mosley follows my wife on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I like it, but
I can ask him about it if you want me.
you know Johnny?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Nice. Yeah, tell him what's up with that. Um, but yeah, no, I just got to ski Tahoe for the first time this winter. I played the comedy club up there and got to ski Heavenly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was the first time in that era.
Gotta
Uh,
get you Squaw next time.
yeah, that's what I've heard. Squaw, and then like was it Alpine Meadows maybe is up
Yeah,
there?
that's like right on the back of Squaw. I've never skied there, but I'm sure it's probably pretty similar terrain. But yeah,
Yeah,
Squaw.
it's beautiful up there. It's fucking amazing.
Mhm.
No, on the back on the subject of aerial skiers, Ryan what was
St.
his
Ange.
Saint Ange? Yeah, he
Yeah,
was a guy I remember when I was coming up. He was like competing with Marty,
yeah,
and was one of the top American guys. But let me ask you this: why are like certain things like that? It seems like kind of Asian and Nordic countries really excel at especially ski jumping or
like long
aerials.
distance. Aerials,
No,
China is like ridiculous, and Ukraine and Russia. But China specifically, China's crazy because they have like instead of going to school, you go to like like you're just a gymnast. Like there's huge
yeah.
sport institutes where like you do gymnastics or a certain discipline. And so in China, like they'll take the gymnasts that aren't going to make it and they'll just like teach them like slap skis on their feet and then they become aerialists. And so I was talking to there's
So they do have like a hierarchy of what like the top athlete like their what they have as their top event.
yeah like
They consider the most, like this is what we're really gunning for. We want
yeah.
the
And then if you
golds and the
don't,
best people
yeah
in
yeah,
gymnastics.
I feel like gymnastics for them is obviously huge.
Yeah.
I can't think of what I mean. Obviously, they're into everything, but yeah, so they had that huge sport institute, and they had like so many numbers of athletes. Like I was talking to a Canadian mogul coach who coached for China for a bit, and he said that they would go to that training facility, and there would just be like dudes in the air constantly, like never a guy not in the air on one of the jumps.
Never waste of time. Jeez. Now coming from like having competing with all these different countries and seeing different countries money and support that they put into their national team, like was there certain parts of because I mean I feel like US athletes are way underfunded as far as just how they have to live as people, like were other athletes living a lot better funded by their countries?
They were certainly funded better for sure. I think interestingly, Canada is in a similar boat, and they are super dominant in moguls. But yeah, like China, those guys are getting paid. I'm pretty sure. Like I feel like
Yeah.
those guys roll up smoking cigarettes, like clock it in, like don't even want to be there, but they like have to like a job. Some of them at least. I don't know if that's true, The Russians, before everything blew up, they were getting stipends. I don't really know what like some of the Scandinavian situations are, but I feel like the Swedish team's got to be pretty well funded. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what
Or at
Japan.
least you just don't worry about shit.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's the thing about being like on the U.S. team or a team with like a lot of depth. Like the country in general has a lot of depth. Is that you don't get funded, and there's also like a huge list of people like ready to take your spot at any moment. So like you're never like chilling. Or some of those other
yeah.
countries, I would compete against guys who were like not very good when we started competing, but then they just had so much time to develop and like not a ton of pressure. Like they knew they could just develop and not worry about like results right off the bat. And so now like those guys are doing pretty well.
But would you say one system, like, how did what's the Canadian system like? Because what's his name, Mikkel there is probably one of the best, if not the best, mogul skier of all time that we've seen.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, I think it. I mean, there's some guys back in like the, like Sergey who
Yeah.
died on the motorcycle crash, but there are dudes like that. But Mick, yeah, I think he's probably the GOAT. I think that would be hard to deny.
Which is crazy. It's still weird to think that, like, what gets weird is when the top athletes, like Brady, is still older than us, but when you see the best of all time and they're fucking younger than you,
Yeah.
you can't even look up to them.
Yeah. So,
but like, yeah, what's the Canadian team like? And also, do you think though that like having that, like, if you have to self motivate yourself, like, does kind of put the people that want to be there the most and possibly the best at the top?
Yeah, like two different things there. Like, yeah, like the U.S. I feel like the U.S. team. Like if you looked at like the people just under the U.S. ski team, we have like the best skiers and the most depth, or at least when I was coming up by far. Like there were so many kids who I were competing against who could have easily made the team and like been on the same track that I was. I felt like, and other countries didn't have that. But what other countries had was like a small, like really small, tight knit team that they would like get to spend so much time working with those athletes that they would develop them to like obviously get really good. Canada is interesting because it's pretty similar to the U.S. I don't know, they're just doing a great job. Like I think their programming is really solid.
Yeah, they also have so much skiing as a culture there too, like even more than we do here.
Yeah, and they've had like just two like almost like prodigy dudes. They had Alex Bilodeau who won the 2 gold medals before Mick, and then they had Mick like back to back, which is crazy.
Yeah, and the World Cups he's racked up too is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I want to ask you about? Oh, just a side note, and it's something I heard from the Rogan podcast because I heard him on it. What's his name? The Cuban MMA fighter. I'll think of it in a minute, but he was on the Cuban national wrestling team.
Okay.
And he's one of the best all time. But he said on their team, number one, if you were number one wrestler, you got more food than number two. You got more sleep than number two. Like
really?
That's how they cut it there. Like,
yeah,
and it went, and number two got more than number three. Number three got more than number four.
That's interesting.
So they're like, you literally,
super competitive.
Yeah, so competitive.
That's crazy. Yeah, our team. I mean, I have no complaints about my time with the U.S. team. Like, even though like I wasn't always funded, there's so many resources that you get there that are unbelievable. Like you can have a nutritionist whenever you want, like strength and conditioning coach traveling with you. You can get physical therapy every single day if you need it.
And so are you getting put up there like when you're training? They got like dorms or whatever where you stay?
No, they don't. So yeah, you'd move to Park City and pay rent, but the gym, like the facility, is unbelievable. So, yeah, I have no complaints. I think the way that like the USOC is set up, it's not funded, so that's how it is. And I think as far as like dealing with that, the U.S. team does like probably some of the best work supporting their athletes, I would think.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy because it's all based on people like yourself and like other athletes that just want to like pursue these sports to like the top level.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and I don't want to get you in any hot water or anything, but then like the IOC is like one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, just like making tons of fucking money off of this. And
Yeah,
then people at the bottom are struggling to be like, hopefully our thing is funded. Hopefully it's not funded. We'll
yeah,
see how
yeah,
it goes.
yeah. Crazy. Yeah, no,
Um,
I had like more of a hard time with that. I don't even really see much of that, but I'm aware that that's an issue. And then like the fist stuff for me was always challenging. I always felt like there were like super old like European dudes who were like setting rules and dictating like how our sport would go, and they're like so out of touch. I
oh yeah,
at
that's
one
like the
point,
judging a lot too as you're coming up in those
yeah,
lower levels, like the not even NORAMs, but yeah, what was it called? The like the high school shit you
yeah,
do.
just like a regional, like a USSA meet or whatever.
USSA, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the judging was fucking terrible. And half the time it's like parents who decided to get into it and shit.
yeah,
And you're like, and moguls at least is a little better. But when we're talking about jumping, and if you got into more like free ride shit, like style and stuff like that, you're like, yes, technically that is what that guy did. He spun 3 times. It looked like shit though.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
the other guy did a
yeah,
900 and it was fucking awesome.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, judging is always, and that'll always be a problem. But I had more issue with like the guys. Like I feel like the rules would change. Like they would try to do like new event formats and change like the difficulty of certain tricks and like just try to manipulate the sport. And it was always like the worst call that ever could have been made. So I wanted there to be a rule that like any new rule that was implemented, like the chief of comp and like the head fist dude had to do a duel under those circumstances first to prove it. Because like we would be in like Ruka and they wouldn't let you like slip the mogul course. Like, and that's usually like you slip it before you
Yeah.
train after like
For
every day.
those of you that don't know, slipping means like you kind of slide over it sideways on your skis to smooth it all out. You get a feel of the course as an athlete, but also like it kind of gets it ready to go to compete on.
Yeah, because if you don't slip, it gets like super deep and really gnarly and like dangerous.
Yeah.
And so like they like one year just decided they weren't gonna let us slip anymore. And it was like I think that one event like so many people got injured. And so then I was
What
like,
would even be the point behind that? That's so.
like make it more challenging or something. Like it's not challenging enough. I don't know. It like they thought it would make it more exciting, and it made it totally worse because like people weren't getting down and like you weren't seeing you weren't seeing good runs happen. People were just getting potty. So
Yeah, that's the thing is so because the show is called To Live and Bike in LA, so we do have some people who listen who bike. But if you've never seen mogul skiing before, the crazy thing about it is to win and to be at the top, you are literally going like you train to be the best at it, and then you are going to the point just before you're completely out of control.
yeah, totally.
Like that's what you guys are all kind of edging the line to is like, let me see if I can go down this as fast as possible before I completely lose control.
Right. And part of the problem now too is the way they've changed it now is it's almost getting away from that a little bit. Where like when you watch a mobile event now, it's like it's still super impressive and guys are pushing it, but like it's much more dialed back where like guys aren't trying their hardest trick, they're not skiing as fast as they possibly can, like until the last runs of the day. Because it's now more about like being clean and perfect than it is about like kind of sending and trying to do like your best run. So that's also a bummer. It's just like not.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah.
That also
And
that
you
might
still
be
like yeah
safer.
by the end
That
like
might be safer.
by the end of the event you'll still see like the sick runs out of like
Yeah.
Nick and guys like Akuma from Japan and stuff, but like getting to that point it's like it feels kind of repetitive. I feel like.
Would you be at the top and just like as you're getting like in a couple of those how many like super finals were you in for World Cup?
I don't know, but I mean, like 10 or something like that, probably.
Would you be up there like seeing guys that you knew and you'd seen training all week or whatever there and they just like were letting go, or like did that happen to yourself where you're like that hasn't happened all week, training's been shitty, I was maybe barely holding on or not, but you're like I just fucking killed that course like out of nowhere, like made it to the finals, was doing all right, and then you're up there watching and you're like holy shit, did you just see his run?
No, I never, and most of the guys don't like watch the other dudes. So like,
Oh
it's
no.
almost kind of hard to, because like they'll have like a big like corral that you have to go to get into the gate, and so like you have to go around the side of the course to even like see, and even when you're up there and look down, you can only see like the top jump.
That's
So
true too. I guess when I was coaching, I was always like right at the edge there, and so you
yeah,
pretty
so
much see them all the way down.
yeah, when you're an athlete, you're kind of like more back on the flat area, just like stretching or pace. I would like pace around and just try to relax.
You know, the
I
other
always
thing
like,
too.
what's
I
that?
don't, I don't want to be sexist or anything, but it's men's skiing. Women's skiing, I bet they watch each other more.
Oh, could be. Yeah, I don't know. Not totally, I don't know. You
I
do
just
hear like
remember.
you will hear like you'll hear like the announcer and you'll hear like time, so that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
And I always like to. A lot of times I would like get into the gate and I would like see the last guy go off the jump. I mean, I never was like too superstitious about stuff like that, but
Would you ever get like the course had really been beaten in and you hadn't seen it until you got up in the gate? Or the coach would probably
yeah,
radio to you and let you know if it was, right?
that's more like when you're trying to break on to like get into like the finals at World Cup. So the way World Cup works is like the top 30 skiers are randomly seated in the run order. So like it'll be randomly sprinkled with the top 30 guys, and then it'll be everybody out of the top 30. So once you like get your bib number above top 30, then you know you're at least going to be starting from 1 to 30 in that run order, and the course isn't going to change like that significantly. And then
And then how
after the
deep does it
qualifying
go
round,
after 30?
it depends on the event. 60 is probably like normal, something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's the deepest you've ever had to go?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not. Yeah. Who knows? Oh,
How
wait.
did you get in? Was it winning duels at nationals that got you into your first World Cup?
First World Cup was actually before I made the ski team. They have U.S. selections events, which it happens in December, and you get World Cup spots from that. So I can't remember the year, but I won that. It was crazy. Like I went from like the year before not qualifying for the whole NORAM tour to like qualifying for a World Cup the next year.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy. But and then I don't think I was on World Cup for like 3 years before I had like success, and then qualified for like the rest of it. So when you won selections, you would only get the North American side. So you'd go to like Lake Placid and Deer Valley, and if you did well there, then you'd keep going. So it took
Oh,
me
okay.
3 tries before I got
Before you kept going.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's such like I mean, the athletic skill that takes is way beyond stand up. But in stand up comedy, like the Comedy Store is like the mecca of kind of creating comics and comics coming out of there. Like so many of the biggest comics in the world have come out of the Comedy Store. And you kind of get in there by getting passed by the booker, and they only
Right.
look at people like on Monday nights. And if you like get a chance to go be seen, like I've been up 3 times there in 2 years on a Monday night because you get like randomly selected, and
Yeah.
the booker was never in the room any of the times.
Crazy.
And but like that's how like little it comes up, and then if you're there and you get seen, you gotta have a good set when you get seen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then if that happens, they'll ask you back, and then that's like an even more of a trial. Now they're actually gonna watch you, and you better fucking do good.
Yeah.
And then but then if that all goes well, that can start you on your track and you get going. So it's like weird of like, here are the couple opportunities you have, and all of these things kind of have to fall in line to get to those other things.
Yeah, it's like a mix of being lucky and being ready to capitalize on like the right situation.
Yeah,
I feel like your industry is super cutthroat, man. I don't know. I feel like it's super competitive.
Yeah, and we're filled with lunatics too. That's the other tough thing is at least the the difficulty physically of skiing weeds out a lot of people, where nobody gets weeded out in stand-up comedy at all.
Yeah.
They let the craziest fucking people come to open mics and try it.
Yeah.
So lastly here, we got a few more minutes. We got 2 things to do. But one I want to ask you about, I don't want to break anything, but it's what's interesting about us is that we both like started out in Maine skiing and stuff. And then you're kind of involved in what I would say is comedy. I don't know what you do exactly in the show, but you're involved with the tapings of the Donnie Pelletier character that's been he's a Maine person who's been pretty prevalent online and in skiing culture lately. When did that start happening?
Donnie, I feel like he kind of broke onto the scene a couple years ago at Park City. It was like the closing day, so everyone was dressed up like clown day style, and Donnie rolled up in the main outfit and just kind of like put everybody on notice about skiing the moguls. And, yeah, so that it started 2 years ago, and he didn't have any Instagram or social media presence before that, and then it just that
That's
first
crazy.
video of him skiing in Park City had like over 1 million post reach on Facebook like within a month. It was insane.
That's fucking crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
And now, but like like I've watched a bunch of them. You have an eye for like how to be funny and like how to make those things funny and stuff. Like, are you into comedy at all or anything, or is it just from fucking around?
I mean, I love going to comedy shows, but I've never like studied it. It's always like Blake Wilson. He's like one of my best buddies.
Also, very goofy fucking dude.
Hilarious. So we would always like when we were growing up, we got into like these goon riding videos. There's this pro motocross guy named Trey Kennard, and he had as an alter ego character named Ronnie Mack, and just like rides his dirt bike so loose, like sketchy looking. And so we always thought that was like the funniest thing ever. So we would always do that growing up skiing, like try to ski as poorly as possible. Blake's unbelievable. He's like maybe better than I am.
I know.
Unbelievable. And so we just always found that to be hilarious. And then
he would take out these heart snow blades that that I brought in the team room, and he would like love to take them and send it on those, like try and go as big as he could on the tiniest little things.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He's a character. But so just between like we always found like crashes and like bad skiing to be hilarious, and then we always obviously like growing up in Maine, like Maine culture is like the funniest thing ever. So it's like such an easy combination to blend those two. And I feel like the character is just like a mix of like that really arrogant guy and then just like a lot like just things you'd hear people growing up in Maine say. Like we have family friends that like I rip Donnie shit from, like a lot of the inspiration.
Oh yeah. I mean, I do too. I feel like every little ism I've thought to say to somebody when they're like, you have to go to the garage today, and then you have like some quick back like is from hanging around the old dudes in Maine.
So funny.
And I've just compiled like 1 million of them to throw out randomly in conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had more. I like anytime we go back to Maine, I feel like I get a little better.
But what was I gonna say? No, the skiing. Yeah. Dude, I'm worried Donnie's gonna hurt himself some of those times. Some of those things look like that's what causes fucking blown out knees and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I get that all the time, and like I've never really been in a situation where I felt vulnerable, and I think it's because I'm actively trying to do it. So like I don't know, maybe it's like I'm purposely doing those movements, so it's not like a surprise to my body or anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
My finest Donnie, my personal favorite Donnie like ski moment this winter, where the Barker chair comes in and there's like the hill kind of that wraps it, and there's that little stream right there.
Yep.
So I like there's like the Barker line was packed with people getting ready to get on the chairlift, and I like bombed in, and then
you did that double full, right?
No, that was at Alta.
Okay.
But this is like more like just like the beauty of the crash, which is something I'm looking for. But so like you get to the bottom of the hill and there's the stream, and I was like, oh yeah. So I slammed my tips like front sided the other side of the stream and like full tomahawk double eject into the lift crowd on like a packed Saturday. It was my favorite Donnie moment ever. It was unreal.
Oh man, that just reminds me of so that leads us into the next part perfectly. But I can tell you, because it's a ski crash that I show to everybody, and you're the first person who's probably seen the video before, because it's very well known. But I've just been showing it to people who have no idea. But I was gonna say a story. Will Getchell, one time we were coaching, he and I, for like the little kids, like the 7 to 10-year-olds or something at Whaleback.
Yeah.
And we got to Whaleback and he forgot his skis and boots. Yeah.
That's classic.
Just not packed them in the van at all.
Yeah.
And so he just has his boots on and he's down bottom the whole first run, and it is fucking freezing out. And so at the break, I was like, Getchell, like you have to be at the top of the second run. It's so cold, I cannot stay up there.
Yeah.
The whole second one. And so he's like, all right, because they gave him a lift ticket anyway because he was a coach, and he was like, I'll just take the lift up and walk down, and then you can go down to the bottom. And I looked up, and he's coming. And do you remember way back how it was like flat, and then just pretty much it was one face that just dropped down? And so I'm at the top of the course, and I see him come over the face that right as it starts to get steep, and he just has like bean boots on, and they just start slipping out.
Starts losing it.
Yeah, and he just falls on his ass and is digging his heels in, not doing anything, not stopping at all. And he just wipes out about 45 7 to 10-year-old children
coming into the top of the course. Oh my!
Into the start corral. And I watched the whole thing happen because we were talking on the radio, and he goes, "I'm coming over the top right now." I'm like, "All right, yeah, I see you." Oh god.
Yeah. There's been so much, like I've seen that happen so many times to coaches, like some really gnarly ones. It's crazy.
Well, then he just had to get up, and I was like, "See ya, dude," and he just had to stay there with all of them. Like, I went to the bottom. I was freezing. But okay, so here is the last thing. So I show this to all my guests. I find it, you get why crashes can be funny, even if they're terrible. Sometimes if something happens in it, it can still be funny.
Yeah, I'm super into crashes. Huge crash.
Yeah. So this is a very well-known crash. I'm sure, 100% sure you have seen this video, but we can talk about it anyway, and talk about it from a perspective of, we come from this world.
Yeah.
All right, hang on, I just gotta pull it up. All right. Can you see? Wait, no.
Not yet. Yeah, now.
Okay.
Yeah, got it. Oh, yeah.
So I have shown just the short version of it.
Uh-huh.
And you can't hear the audio at all, can you?
I can't, no.
Oh, yeah, for some reason it doesn't go through, but you know.
I know this, yeah.
What happens?
This is a super gnarly crash, like one of the most legendary ski crashes ever.
Right? Okay, so this is actually cool because you can just kind of comment, oh.
God, dude.
And then, so this is what I laugh at and the crash was so gnarly, but my ankles are broken. And then the third guy yelling, his ankles are broken.
Yeah, doesn't he yell, I think he broke his ankles? The third
No, Tanner yells, my ankles are broken. My ankles are broken. And then a guy right next to the camera goes, his ankles are broken.
From a comedic standpoint, that third guy is hilarious.
It's so
funny. We used to quote that all the time, but in all reality, that's like one of the heaviest slams ever.
Yes. Oh yeah. And to come back, that's the other thing I always tell people. All right, we can stop sharing that now. Is that he is one of the best. He's like might take the cake as like one of the GOATs. Him and Candide.
Yeah.
As far as longevity. Candide might be Tom Brady.
Yeah, and Tanner's still like absolutely crushing too. Like, yeah,
he is, but that
going hard
out of nowhere, Candide coming up with those one of those day videos.
Yeah, so cool.
Completely changed how skiing is shot.
Yeah,
it went totally like took over the how you could shoot a fucking first person shot and stuff.
Totally. Yeah. No, both those guys are very impressive and how they're still absolutely crushing it.
Your favorite skier of all time?
Oh man, this sounds bad. I honestly don't have one. I feel like I like certain people at certain times. I also have I used to be super into park. Then I was super, obviously very into mobile skiing. Now I'm like way more intrigued by big mountain stuff. So I feel like it changes. But I don't have like one favorite. I
could go. As far as style goes, I remember, and I think he fucking went through some shit. Mikel Deschanel, you remember him?
No.
A guy from Switzerland. He won the U.S. Open Big Air one of the years I was there in 2002 or 2003.
Okay.
Beat Tanner. Remember the year Tanner was doing the Switch Rodeo 7 tail grab and he won like every single Big Air?
No, I might have been a little, I don't know.
Yeah, you might have been. How much younger are you? I'm 35.
I'm 27.
27. Okay, so yeah, you would have been like 8 or 9, maybe 8 that year. Anyways, he was super stylish, really good. But Hugo Harrison, as far as a big mountain skier, I've never seen anybody just absolutely crush mountains the way he would straight line the most gigantic fucking peaks.
Yeah. There's been some super gnarly big mountain dudes, like especially in those early days. Guys were so gnarly.
Seth Morrison fucking throw himself off shit.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I've so much more come to appreciate the life and work of Shane McConkey.
Totally.
And how he took skiing and took fucking life is like, because there was so much stress in skiing for me, especially as I got into competing and shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I look like what he did with his career and shit. And I go, I wish I was just fucking around the entire time.
Yeah. Him, like Glenn Blake, obviously, like has a super cool career and still is going like crushing in that regard. Yeah. Super cool. There's just so many dudes that do so many cool things in their own way that I can't pick a favorite.
Well, you have to right now. No, that's here. I've kept you long enough. That's the show. Thanks for fucking talking, man. It was good to talk to you.
Yeah, great to talk.
And check out all Troy stuff. What are your social medias? And you do a fucking ton of pottery and shit too, right?
I do when I have access to a studio.
Yeah, it's always like every once in a while you'll be like, I'm selling 400 things.
Exactly. Yeah. So I actually have a wheel and just got like 2,800 pounds of clay for free from a buddy because he's like a property manager and one of the property.
Clay for you. You need some clay. I'll get you up from the property.
Bring the truck out. You might need.
Yeah.
Load up the airbag. But
you ever see the sign on 117 said free shit?
No, I haven't seen that. That's awesome.
It was you could go get manure if you needed it.
Yeah, there you go. But anyway, I have a ton of clay and the wheels, and I just need a kiln, and I'll be able to do that. I also have been making like weird barrel art stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
It's all very intermittent.
But is it all pretty much through like Instagram?
Yeah, I just put it on there. I have an Etsy page too. Donnie has an Etsy page where he sells stickers and koozies and whatnot.
And what's that?
Donnie Pelletier 207 probably. I think.
All right.
But yeah,
I'll check them out. And I'll put it in the tag of the episode too, so everybody see where they can go find you.
Yeah, I'd say Instagram for Donnie and Troy are the two big ones, and then if you want to find those Vimeo links too. Yeah,
I'll put up when I post the post about this. This will probably come out in the next like week or two, but I'll find the Vimeo and put a link to it with the like Instagram post and shit, so people can check that out. If you're listening, just go to my Instagram and it'll be on there. Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. Thank you for being on, Troy. Good to talk to you. Yeah, everybody. You too. I'm trying to. If you're ever in Utah, I'm trying to see a stand-up show. So. Well, I will definitely know when life gets back to normal. There's a great club in Salt Lake City that I'll probably be playing in the next year or two. I'll definitely let you know when I'm up there. Yeah. And then other than that, periodically back visiting the folks in Maine and stuff. Maybe we'll line up sometime. Yeah, that'd be great. Talk to you later, buddy. Good luck surfing.